Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 4 of the Nate Stowe Show, cleverly named I know. Here we're going to talk fitness, we're going to talk football, and we're going to talk fun. So let's get started. This morning I wrote an email talking about what's called MEL, minimum effective load, and what's called MED, MED, minimum effective dose. And it went over well. Had some clients come in this morning and say, hey, I really liked that email, it was good. So I thought I'd share it with everyone else just in case you're not on that email list. And by the way, if you're not, send me a message so I can add you. So basically what happens is when clients or new people are trying to get back into the gym and they haven't worked out for a couple of years, is they want to go twice a day, 8 days a week. Like, just got to do it all, can't do enough. And what happens every single time is that you either get burned out or you get hurt. It's one of the two options. I have never seen this actually work out for someone where they go from haven't done anything in years, maybe 10 years, 20 years, now I'm going to go do the hardest diet, I'm going to do the hardest workout, I'm going to do all that, and then they got in the best shape of their life. Like, I just never see that happen. I mean, heck, you watch The Biggest Loser, which is what they're basically doing, and you'll notice that, and by the way, I watched 14 seasons in a row, so I feel good about this. The person that wins, I feel like, doesn't even win. I feel like they survive. Like, they're the ones that aren't getting drug off, and like, I mean, half the time they're like voting each other off. They're like, I'll just vote me off. My legs hurt. I can't keep up. Let's not keep one of y'all voted off. Like, I can't even keep up. If you really watch the show, they're just basically taking themselves out of the game. They can't do it. And then if you watch like after, like how many people have kept it off like over like the 14 years I was watching at the time, there's only one person, and even that person was a public speaker, a motivational speaker, so they were highly motivated. It was almost like their job to keep up with the routine that they started. So that's where minimum effective load and minimum effective dose is. So what does that mean exactly? Minimum effective load is like, what is the least amount of weight you can do on a barbell, like a resistance training exercise, to get the results you want? Because that's where we want to be at, the minimum amount that you need to get the result that you want, to get a training effect. Because when we do that, it's very doable, it's very repeatable, and it could be what, you know, my boy Nate likes to call making fitness a lifestyle. It's something, it's part of your life. Now that's going to vary on what kind of shape you're in, right? So minimum effective load for me might be a little bit of a different than a minimum effective load for my mom. So it's going to depend upon where you're at. Now minimum effective dose is like, how often do you have to come in? So for most people, 2 or 3 times a week starting out is plenty for them to get into great shape. Now, the better shape you get in, the minimum effective dose is going to change, right? But there you go. And I can't give you an exact number on most of that stuff because it does depend upon where you're at. But once we establish where you're at, now we know what the minimum amount you can do, so it's sustainable, and you can get started, and you can be successful. All right, and as like Coach Belichick likes to say, and moving on. So next up is football. The Saints, who should they take in the draft? Now, this is really tough because they only have a second-round pick, so trying to pick an exact player would be borderline impossible. So I'm going to go more like a positional analysis. And the thing with the Saints team that was one BS play away from going to the Super Bowl is they are loaded. We're bringing back virtually everyone. The only person of value that we're not bringing back is the center, Max Unger. He retired. The other guys we dropped the tight end, Ben Watson, who retired also at 38, but he's kind of a non-factor. We picked up Jarrett Cook, so I think we actually improved ourselves there. And then Ingram dropped off. I hate to see it, but the price tag, from what I hear, like, he was wanting insane money from the Saints, and he actually accepted less money from the Ravens just to have a starter's role. But we picked up Murray from the Vikings, so we'll see how he does. I think we're pretty set at running back. So I would say more positional group, offensive line. So we dropped Unger. We picked up a replacement, the guard from the Vikings. Can't think of his name right now. But we're just thin behind the starters, and injuries happen. Everybody's like, what happened to Drew Brees at the end of the year? And I was like, well, 2 and 3 of his linemen are hurt. So that's kind of what happened to the Saints offense, is like 2 to 3 of their linemen are hurt. Like, let's name another team in the NFL. How about the Rams or Patriots? I bet if we took 3 of their 5 linemen away, they would not be as good as they were with all their starters. So I think we can use some more depth along the offensive line or the defensive line, and this particular draft is deep in linemen. With that caveat being said, stacked team, so best player, whoever you think can make the roster is really who you need. Do you think they can make the roster? Take them. All right, and moving on. Watched the movie Us this weekend, if you're not familiar. It was great. So I would not describe it as a horror movie. To me, a horror movie is like Saw or Hostel, and I don't do that, like the gory kind of like stuff like that. Like, that is not my cup of tea. I can do without. No, thank you very much. This is more what I'd call a suspenseful movie where you're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen, and there's some clues about what's going to happen. What I really liked about it, what I thought the director did a good job with, was he inserts humor into these suspenseful movies. So it's suspenseful, and then like there's a joke out of left field, and it's really funny. Like really breaks the tension for just a moment here or there. So that was funny. I thought it had a great soundtrack. Both the scary music like stuff was good, and then like just kind of like when it isn't in a scary moment, that was good. Just the overall, I guess you would call it photography, just the way the camera and they're panning it, that was awesome. And the ending was great. I don't want to ruin the third act, but the third act, I thought the movie was over and had another 45 minutes, so it was great. Loved it. I highly recommend it. I'd give that movie an A. I'm normally a B kind of movie guy, but that was an A movie, and there ain't nothing wrong with an A movie. That's it, y'all. I'll be back on Wednesday with episode 5. Have a wonderful day.